So Google Tag Manager is the system that connects the actions on your website that your visitors take that you want to track with the information about those actions that you want to send to your Google Analytics reports. And it's kind of separate from Google Analytics because Google Analytics is where you actually see the reports, you see the numbers, you see the charts, and Google Tag Manager helps you bridge the gap between what your website visitors do and what information actually gets shown in those reports. So there's a lot of options in Google Tag Manager, and the useful thing about it is you only have to install it once on the website. Once the Google Tag Manager code is on the website, then you no longer have to go into the website to make changes through the code. You can use the Google Tag Manager interface and make the changes there. And Google Tag Manager interface is much more organized and cleaner than, say, going to change the code on your website's button. Every button on the website, every link on the website, or every form on the website manually every time you want to change something and update something. And so that's the benefit of using Google Tag Manager. And once you have the code on the website, you have basically a few main options. You have your triggers, which is what the user does to cause the information to get sent to Google Analytics. That can be a click, that can be submitting a form, that can be viewing a page, or any other type of trigger, scrolling the page a certain depth, 100%, 50% scroll down the page. Any kind of activity that you want to use to say to Google Analytics, okay, now I need you to track it as of this point or as of this event that happened. Then the information that gets sent from Google Tag Manager to Google Analytics is defined by the tags. So there's multiple different type of tags you can use in Google Tag Manager. Google Analytics is only one of them, but that's the main one you're going to care about for your website. Obviously, there's other integrations you can use as well. But the tags define, the information you're sending and where you're sending it to. Then there's also something called variables, which is basically variables are names you give to certain types of information, right? So for example, your Google Analytics or your Google Tag Manager ID, you can save that ID value inside of a variable so that once you have the variable with whatever name you want, you can use that over and over again inside of Google Tag Manager to represent that value instead of repeating that value from scratch all the time. So those are your three basic options in Google Tag Manager. And essentially, the important thing about it for you as a business owner for your website is you need to be able to track the successful events that happen on your website so that you can learn more about your website visitors so you can try to make more sales, right? Or more appointments, get more leads as a business. So that means you need to track things like clicks on the purchase button, clicks on the lead forms, right? And to be able to track those things in a way that's organized and valuable, Google Tag Manager helps you do all of that. You do kind of need to be familiar with code. So I think that's where a lot of business owners miss out on. If they're not technical, you need to know something about web development or at least HTML structure, DOM structure. If you want to get advanced, you really probably need to have someone on staff, or you need to hire someone who understands JavaScript. But outside of that, Google Analytics 4 is now tracking some things automatically. But again, for a complete setup, you're going to probably need someone technical on staff who understands websites. So that's the basics of how Google Tag Manager is different than Google Analytics and what it's used for and how it can help your business. And so now next I'm going to show you all the options in depth one by one. Okay, so you get about 1,500 plus options with GTM, and I'm gonna quickly go over the important ones and anything that looks interesting. So like I said, you got your tags, your triggers, your variables. You also have templates from the community template gallery for tags, and you also have variable templates and tag templates. So out of all the tags, there's a few that are uh, the major ones, and I got the list of the 75 here. Like I said, Google Analytics is the most important. Google Ads is also important. You need to install tags and triggers for Google Ads separately from the data you install for Google Analytics, because that's how Google Ads will learn from your data in terms of your conversions. So don't rely only on Google Analytics tags when you're running Google Ads. You also have something called Google Tag, which is an updated, like a new thing, which you can use. You have Conversion Linker, which is important for Google Ads as well. Don't run Google Ads without using the Conversion Linker, because that's how Google Ads will know what's a conversion on your website. Let's see here. Custom HTML can be important as well. Whenever you want to do some things that don't come standard with Google Tag Manager. Let's see. Custom images. I don't use much. A/B tasty. A/B testing is important so that you know what is statistically meaningful from the tests you run. Right? If you don't have enough data, you won't know for sure that you're getting a useful result or a meaningful result. So A/B testing platforms are helpful when you're split testing and running experiments to see if something is statistically significant. Any changes you make help you get more leads, sales, conversions. What else looks interesting here? Crazy Egg, heat map tracking and user session recording. That can be helpful if you're doing experiments on your website, see where people are spending time with the heat maps. And you can also see the exact visit session they made. With session recordings, you can see exactly where people scroll and click. I don't use much of this. Hotjar is similar to Crazy Eggs. They have heat maps and session recordings. They also have surveys for user experience. I've used Hotjar before. I think surveys are important because some things you just can't tell from from heat maps or sessions or from the numbers, the graphs, the analytics. Sometimes you just have to ask people and get that qualitative data in addition to the quantitative data that you're getting from your metrics. LinkedIn, if you're using LinkedIn, this could be useful. The LinkedIn Insight tag. Let's see. Pinterest. Any platform that allows you to use a tag, you probably should to help that platform find lucrative audiences for you in their ads system, right? So Pinterest tag, use it if you're advertising on Pinterest. Quora, same thing, let you retarget, right? If they visit, you can send ads to them to come back to your website. Don't use many of these other ones. Twitter, you definitely want to use the Twitter tag if you're advertising there. Bring your Twitter users back to your website or advertise to people on Twitter. What's this? Yeah. So those are the tags, the main tags. Obviously, you got custom tags you can create, custom HTML tags if what you want isn't up here. Okay, so for triggers triggers, you got, I don't really use many consent triggers, but if you're like, your website's in the EU and you need consent for like cookies or something like that, that could be useful so that your tags don't fire until people consent. Initialization, that's if you want to run something as soon as the page comes up, something they get to your site. Page view, this is when everything's on the page. So the page isn't fully loaded, but it's finished parsing the document, right? So they have all the elements. It just may not be showing the actual images and stuff yet, but it's load. The elements themselves are like defined on the page. DOM ready. That means when everything's there and let's see, fully parsed. So the structure of the page is available, but images or style sheets might not be fully loaded. So it looks like initialization happens first, then page view, and then DOM. Although window loaded, that means the entire page is fully finished loading. And what else? Yeah, that's the last one, is the Windows fully loaded. All elements, any clicks will be tracked with that. Just links, only things with like a URL, like a hyperlink will be tracked. Element visibility, you can fire a trigger when, you can say I only want to fire this trigger when once a certain element on the page is visible. So that way you can make sure that they saw whatever you wanted them to see, whether it's a link or an image, a form, a banner, ad, or whatever. The form submission trigger, that's like for your contact forms or your lead forms. You can trigger things based off of that when that form's submitted. Scroll depth, I mentioned that one, when they get a certain distance down the page. YouTube video, if you embed YouTube videos, you can make triggers go when it starts playing, or when it gets paused, when it gets played again, or when it ends. So that can be useful if you want to know about the video view metrics, how far through your video people have gotten, or if you want to send information when they first start playing. You can also make custom events, so that helps you get more flexible. You can kind of do your own thing there. And what else? Timers, if you want to know how long like a pop-up, like you can delay a pop-up, time pop-ups. You can trigger re-engagement campaigns, like, you know, if it's been a certain amount of time that's passed. And you can also combine multiple triggers, right? So that's like a more complex thing, but if they do this, then that, or that and that, not that, whatever the specific condition is, you can have that trigger group fire. And so those are your trigger options. For your variable options, this is like letting you do URLs. If they hit a certain, you can save URLs as a variable with a name. I don't really use a lot of these other ones, but let's see, like click element, you can save as a variable. So I clicked a certain thing, save the whatever I clicked as a certain name. Click URL is probably what you're going to use most likely, most often with a variable, along with like form IDs. Don't use a lot of these other ones, but they're there, right? They're available. And basically certain information, you can just assign a name to it so you can reference it again later throughout Google Tag Manager when you need it in a trigger or in a tag. So as far as the community template tags, I've never used any of these. I don't know anyone who does, but they're there. I don't know if it's just, certain companies with relationships with Google are just allowed to submit their tags here. I don't know how that works, but they're here. If you want them, I'm not going to go through 669 of them, but they're written down if you wanted to see what was available. Like I said, I don't know anyone who uses them, so I'm not sure how useful they'll be to you. But, it's good to know, right? Oh, I see like Rakuten's there. If you're doing ads and you want, some affiliates and you want to optimize that, send that data back. They also got Reddit. That could be useful if you're trying to run Reddit campaigns and like get data. Salesforce, GTM template. Oh no, Audience Studio. I've used a lot of Salesforce before, but I've never put their pixel on the site, so I'm not sure how that works. Segment, I've heard of them before. Let's see. Snapchat. Yeah, so I mean, there's some names here. It's just that there's so many that you really wouldn't know much about them if you didn't know about them. TikTok's here, okay. So I'll probably go through and highlight the ones here that look interesting because there's so many of them. Just so you guys can, just so they stand out. Twitter-based pixel, Twitter event pixel looks interesting. So yeah, these are like templates you could use. They got Yahoo. I don't know about that, but how that works. They got YouTube iframe API loader. No idea what that does. These are things you could just go into more detail on. But yeah, there's just too many. Let me see if there's anything else that was kind of interesting. I think I saw Reddit first, so let me scroll back up. Rakuten, that was it. Qualaroo, I've heard of them, never used them, but they're very popular. The name comes up a lot. Apparently, I think they may be like similar to Google Analytics. What else comes up since I'm here? I'm just gonna scroll back up this list. Mixpanel, heard of them as well. I think they're also similar to Google Analytics. I'm gonna highlight that. Maybe I'll go deeper into these later. I have a whole list of like 100 plus marketing tools. LinkedIn Conversion, LinkedIn Insight Tag 2.0. So yeah, like I have a whole list of marketing tools. So maybe if I see something useful with these guys, I'll add them to the list. And if you guys want that, I can like just put a link for you to get it. Insider, I think that may be Insider, the media company who does all the like articles. So that could be useful for them. HubSpot script tag. Yeah, HubSpot's huge like a CRM / content management system. There's Hotjar event, Hotjar user attributes. I know of Hotjar, used them before, pretty good. Tool, GTM consent listener, GTM monitoring and Google Analytics, GTM consent configuration, consent mode. Maybe that's like a automatic template so you don't have to do stuff yourself. Google Tag Manager Monitor, Google e-commerce data transfer. Interesting. I've never used those. GA4 user property, GA4 recommended event builder, GA4 for JavaScript interface, GA4 event with built-in hit timestamp and client ID, GA4 e-commerce. I guess some nice person made templates so that everyone else wouldn't have to do it from scratch. Not sure how good they work, but Facebook Pixel by Effectix, Facebook Pixel, Facebook Customer Chat, Facebook Conversions API by Deviate Tracking, Facebook CAPI tag. If you're doing Facebook ads, you want the Conversions API tag or the Pixel or both, just to make your stuff work better. So those templates could be helpful so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. What else do we have here? Don't see much going up at this point. But you can see there's some name recognition in here. I do know of some of these tools, so I probably would investigate these. Like, say I was starting a new website or just trying to upgrade my website with new functionality. I think some of these are definitely worth. Oh, look, Amazon advertising tag. I think some of these are definitely worth investigating just to beef up your site, especially if you're trying to do a lot of things, test a lot of things, and get the data, like to validate. Okay, so those are your 669 tags from the community template gallery. So I always say don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. Okay, so the GTM tag templates, there's 668 of these. Let me just go through them real quick, see if I see anything interesting or recognizable. Any of these names jump out at me. So far, nothing. There's no name recognition for me, so I probably would simply ignore these. Okay, here we go. Amazon advertising tag. What else do we got? Beacon, I've heard of them. I'm not sure what they do. I'm gonna say they're probably similar to like a Google Analytics type tool. Don't know. CallRail, okay. Dynamic number insertion. This is like if you're running ads. Say you're running Google ads and you're putting a phone number for people to call you, but you want to track how many of your calls came from Facebook. CallRail lets you put in like basically fake numbers that forward to your real number, and it lets you get the data for those numbers so that you can tell, okay, some of our calls are coming from this ad or that ad, blah blah blah. Because if you give them your regular number, well, how will you know it came from an ad, right? You won't. Okay, Cloudflare Web Analytics. That's like a domain hosting, like DNS website, like GoDaddy, similar. I think Cloudflare is a little more complex, but if you want to do a lot of custom stuff, you can use that. I'm not sure exactly what the tag does for you, but I guess it's letting you analyze data similar to Google Analytics. Cookie, nope, don't know them. Let's see, don't know them. Don't know any of these people. Data Layer Builder. Okay, so enhanced e-commerce. I don't know if this is a recently made tag, but yeah, if you're trying to set up the Google Analytics enhanced e-commerce, you're probably going to want to use the Data Layer Builder. So templates will be helpful if you've never done it for yourself by someone who's already done them. I got a few here. Push custom event. Let's see what else is out here. Don't know these names. And I mean, there's so many tools in MarTech that it's impossible for anybody to know them all. So don't be surprised that I don't know them. Facebook's CAPI tag, Conversions API, customer chat, Pixel. Yeah, you're just gonna have to kind of trial and error some of these. But yeah, you definitely want Facebook tags if you're using Facebook ads. Fit Analytics, don't know these people. Yeah, don't be surprised that I don't know some of these because there's just too many, and most people just use their favorite tools anyway. GA4 e-commerce looks like kind of what we saw up above. Yeah, if you haven't upgraded to GA4, or if you haven't fully finished your GA4 setup, then you probably want to check some of these out to make sure you're not missing anything vital. Google e-commerce data transfer, Google tag manager model, GTM consent. Yeah, all that's good stuff. GTM monitoring. Most of these are not like very popular names. Hotjar is good. HubSpot's good. You wouldn't recognize a lot of these people if you haven't used their tools before. So those kind of things are like safe to Intercom I've heard of, but most of these are safe to ignore. You're not gonna miss out on any vital functionality. What's next? LinkedIn live chat's good. It's like you can set up like a chat tool to talk directly to your customers, actually like chat with your customers. I think they may have added a bot functionality, but it's not purely a bot. Like it is really you or someone on your staff chatting with the customers. I've used it. It's a great tool, great for getting leads, answering questions. You just got to test it, right? Um, if you mix panel again, if you see that the chat is driving engagement, then you might as well keep it on your site, right? You don't want to miss those leads, potential sales. What else we got here? Nothing's jumping out at me. Nothing. Now, Pipedrive is a new tool that I gotten familiar with. It's kind of like a super simple Salesforce. It's a CRM, but you can track the status of your leads, qualified, closed, all that. So that Pipedrive lead booster chatbot would be something of interest. Let's see what else you got. Push the Qualaroos there again. Never used them, but I've heard of them. Rakuten's there. It's like an affiliate. Reddit's there again. Redirect to HTTPS. I'm assuming this is some kind of template to help you redirect if you didn't know how anyway. What do we got? Salesforce again. Salesforce is like the super expensive CRM, but you know, if you're making millions of dollars, then maybe you would use Salesforce. I've used it a lot. I was actually an admin, but if you're just starting out, Pipedrive's probably way simpler, way cheaper. Salesforce is super complex. It can get super complex, and most people probably don't need that depth of complexity. TikTok again. Okay, nothing's jumping out at me. Nothing super. Twitter there again. Okay, UA to GA4 event converter. This is like some kind of automatic template to upgrading you to GA4, which I think if you don't, your old UA version of Google Analytics kind of stops functioning this month, maybe. I don't know if I saw that or not. I think I remember seeing something like that. So, WhatsApp chat icon, I'm not sure what that does, but if you're using WhatsApp, it's worth investigating. Yahoo, I guess anyone using Yahoo may be interested. Okay, so now to the variable templates. So, these are like pre-built things, I'm assuming, made by some developers or companies so that you don't have to do it yourself. I don't really think I've ever used any of these, but if I couldn't code for myself, this data layer picker or data layer variable could be interesting. Document title, dynamic measurement ID, commerce. Yeah, I'm not really sure how these are used. Facebook parameter generator. I'm gonna say these are probably for people who aren't very technical, who want to get some basic functionality. But the problem when you use templates is it could be a problem when you go to customize, you know. So check them out if you think you need them, but don't expect them to always give you a complete solution. I don't see anything really interesting yet, but again, I can do pretty much anything I need on my own because I know how to code and I have a lot of experience with Google Tag Manager. Shopify could be interesting. E-commerce values, variables. You can see some of these have the name of the, I guess, of the company who made them. Bot detector, that could be interesting. If you can get a bot detector, that can help you like block bots from clicking on your ads if you're able to like detect it accurately. So that could be very useful. Time converter, timestamp, unique event ID. Yeah, I don't think I really would need most of those. Okay, so that's it for your options in Google Tag Manager. I hope that was useful. I tried to point out whatever I thought you could make use of. Like I said, there's 1,500 plus features in this list, so obviously you can't get to them all in a timely fashion, but I think that's a good overview to get you started. Any questions, just let me know in the comments. Good luck, guys.